get in touch with you and be able to do that. We will be live streaming this meeting as well, the stream, and we are on YouTube as YouTube Live, right?
Yeah.
So in case, yeah, because if we are not able to access the Zoom meeting after 100 participants, we directly we'll be able to join in on the YouTube with the YouTube link.
I see.
Somebody is being very helpful. Yeah, somebody is being very helpful and posting the message of the publication and
Yeah,
the
I see
translation.
that.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Thank
especially
you so much.
the Marathi books. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yes, it was right.
This was. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yes. The second book, I don't know how to pronounce it in Marathi. It's When the River Sleeps. It's the same Rajhans. Rajhans.
When the river sleeps, no, it must be. We'll
Yes.
find out. But
Yeah.
I really enjoyed reading A Terrible Matriarchy, the kind of intergenerational trauma that has been described, and without it being so overt, it's just so subtle. You don't even know what's happening till you know what's happening. It's very good.
Yeah. I'll be touching on that a little today.
Because you have to be.
Yeah. So I'll reserve the rest of my conversation till Gayathri is speaking. Otherwise, I will preempt anything that you would say. So I'll be on mute for another 2 minutes, Eastern, and then we'll begin. We'll begin in a couple of minutes.
Everybody's cheering for everybody else, and
Pooja, can you please mute?
And mostly,
whoever is on?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
trainer
ma'am.
is more unpaid therapist.
Nidhi is, I think. Okay. Can you mute her? Yeah. Srija, you will be able to mute anybody from your control panel, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm doing that, ma'am.
Right.
Shall I ask Pooja to stop sharing?
Yeah. Please do. Let's stop sharing the screen. We'll see the participants all across. Yeah.
So, ma'am, we are live on YouTube and the meeting is being recorded. We can start.
Right. Let's start then, Neha.
Yes, ma'am, certainly. Good morning, good afternoon, and a warm welcome to all present. On behalf of Department of English, LAD, and Srimati RP College for Women, Nagpur, I, Neha Zogarkar, welcome you all on this virtual platform for the 4th Dr. Kamala Narayanan Memorial Lecture. The Memorial Lecture, instituted in 2021 with its maiden run, has grown into a much anticipated annual event in the literary forums of Nagpur. I extend a warm welcome to today's keynote speaker, Dr. Eastern Kire. Welcome, Dr. Kire, to our esteemed institution here in the heart of the Nagpur city. And thank you very much for accepting our invitation. I also welcome our principal, Dr. Pooja Pathak, who has been a forever guiding force behind all our academic endeavors. I welcome our IQSC coordinator, Dr. Archana Masram, Head of the Department of English and Vice Principal, Dr. Ruta Dharmadhikari, principals, academicians, research scholars, and all faculty members from our walls and from those beyond. I welcome you all for this prestigious memorial lecture. A special mention to all those who have been with us since the first installment of this memorial lecture in 2021. Your continued support has always encouraged us to come up with more such events. Now, I would like to request, please mute yourselves. I would now like to request our principal, Dr. Pooja Pathak, to address the gathering briefly.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Pooja, ma'am.
So happy to see such a wonderful event. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
So good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. And I'm so excited and happy to continue this wonderful event, which is always every time has been conducted by Department of English. So my first of all, heartiest congratulations to Dr. Ruta Dharmadikari and her team to conduct this program every year and invite renowned speakers for this. Congratulations, Ruta. And I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Kire here, and who is going to speak on such a wonderful topic, stories. So I remember my childhood days when I read this topic, and I hope the participants are thoroughly going to enjoy. So my best wishes to all of you, and I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Ruta. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pathak, for the
Thank you,
welcome
ma'am.
address. Thank you so much, Dr. Pathak, for your welcome address as chairperson of this memorial lecture. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the fourth Dr. Kamala Narayanan Memorial Lecture. I'm really delighted. Am I audible, Srija?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm really delighted that we have with us Dr. Easterine Kire, the Sahitya Akademi Awardee for English for 2024. A hearty welcome to you, Dr. Kire. We are very glad you could join us today. And congratulations to you on winning the Sahitya Akademi Award for 2024. We at the Department of English began this lecture series with an aim to bring the finest minds in the land to our college. It was really very purely selfish. We wanted to listen to writers and poets, artists and musicians, critics and thinkers talk about their work, topical issues on literature, and their creative journeys. We wanted to be able to talk to them about their art, about our understanding of literature, and thereby life. So I'm really very grateful to the college management for immediately agreeing to our proposal. We organized this lecture as a memorial lecture in honor of our former head of the Department of English, the late Dr. Kamala Narayanan. She was also the vice principal of our college. She was a very warm human being. She was my first HOD when I joined this college. She was a very conscientious teacher, an able administrator, a very caring colleague. She was able to bring out the best in people. And under her headship, the department really flourished in the 80s and early 90s. I really must thank Dr. Easterine Kire for so graciously accepting our invitation to deliver the memorial lecture. And thank you for accepting it also, because it has been a little bit of a fetish for me. I started by inviting the Sahitya Akademi awardee, Arundhati Subramaniam, and I've not stopped. So Shanta Gokhale, Jerry Pinto, and now you. And I hope that next year too, another Sahitya Akademi Award winner will be so gracious to accept my invitation too. So thank you, Easterine, so much. I was really delighted when you replied to my email and accepted my invitation. I've read your novel, A Terrible Matriarchy, and I'm currently reading Spirit Nights, for which you received the Sahitya Akademi Award. You really write so beautifully. I was traveling in Nagaland in April this year, and the novel took me back to Kohima and Konoma, which I just recently visited. And I was able to see your characters perfectly, as if I had just met them already in April. Your storytelling technique is so compelling. It uses the words of everyday and brings to life seamlessly the events of yesterday too. Friends, Easterine was born in the starkly beautiful hills of Nagaland. She became the first woman to publish poetry in English in 82. She made a significant impact on how people, her work made a significant impact on how people saw the Northeast. We will get to know more about how she writes, what she feels, and how one should read a story. We will listen to her through her storytelling, the kind of legacy she has left behind, the kind of history that Nagaland has and should be read by us. But more importantly, she'll talk to us about our art of reading a story. I wish to thank all the people who joined us today. I welcome the principal of Rajkumar Keval Ramani College, Dr. Urmila Dabir. I welcome Professor Prantik Banerjee of Islip College. And I welcome the fraternity of English teachers research scholars, and their supervisors. Also, all the people who have taken an interest in this topic, how to read a story, who have joined us from all across India. So, friends, let us all listen to Easterine deliver a lecture on how to read a story. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, ma'am, for shedding light on the motivation behind the memorial lecture series and for why we invited Dr. Easterine Kire here to deliver this lecture. Our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Easterine Kire, is a poet, short story writer, novelist, and writer of children's books. She is a Sahitya Academy Awardee of 2024 for her novel Spirit Nights, which dwells on the spirituality of her indigenous community. Born in Kohima, Nagaland, her stories now stem from her home in the Arctic Norway. Dr. Kire holds a PhD in English literature from Pune University, so she has roots in Maharashtra. A trailblazer and a pioneering voice from Nagaland, Dr. Kire was the first Naga poet to publish poetry in English in 1982. Her first novel, A Naga Village Remembered, was the first Naga novel to be published in English. Her writings are rooted in her native land, articulating the Naga culture, history, heritage, and memories. Her writings in 2011, Dr. Kire was awarded the Governor's Medal for her groundbreaking work in the promotion of Naga literature. Her stories embody the spirit of the landscape of Nagaland. Her various works are replete with enduring tales of the Naga people, presenting a picture of unity and connectedness. Thus, she becomes a significant voice and a chronicler of the Northeast. Her poetic works, When the River Sleeps, A Terrible Matriarchy, Bitter Wormwood, explore Naga folklore and folk culture, and have worked to bring the Northeast to the mainstream. Her works primarily dwell on the themes of love, spirituality, and destiny, with her poetry collection A Terrible Matriarchy focusing on generational trauma and suffering. Her works have brought on a shift in the perspective regarding Nagaland and the pan northeastern region. Through her writings, she has instilled pride amongst the Naga youth for their native roots. Dr. Kire was also the first Naga writer to write books for children and has released her fifth volume of children's book in 2016 titled The Dancing Village. Connected to her roots, despite now living in Norway, her poems and stories transcend boundaries, keeping the Naga spirit alive within her soul and writings. Apart from writing, Dr. Kire is also a member of the Norway-based band Jazz Poesy and performs jazz poems with the band. She has also collaborated with the group Circus Poetry, wherein circus artists interpret her poems through acrobatic movements. She is also a founder member of Bach Weaver Publications, which publishes folk tales and life stories of the Naga people. When not busy writing, Dr. Kire delivers lectures on culture and literature and holds writing workshops in schools and colleges. Today, we are extremely privileged to be listening to her speak on how to read a story. And now, without further ado, I invite Dr. Kire to begin her talk.
Good afternoon. I have to remember to say good afternoon because it's Indian time we're following. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you for the invitation to give the keynote address at this memorial. And thank you, Neha, for that introduction. I feel you have much more knowledge on me than I do on myself and my works. But I'd like to go immediately to the topic at hand, that is how to read a story. And I'm going to try and share this screen. Right. I'll try it with this. Okay, can you see it? Does it come up?
It was there earlier. It's not there anymore.
Okay. Oh. I'll try again. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How to read a story.
Yeah, we'll just proceed from there. So I've given it an additional title on respectfully reading a story, and I'll be talking about that.
That is so good.
Yeah, so what I wanted to share today is about reading stories disrespectfully, because this is happening to today's generation of readers. And I'm basing this on personal experience, because I've seen that many of my stories are wrongly interpreted and made to represent something I'd never intended. So the other point, the overriding point that I want to make is that books that are prescribed for university students come with an instruction to read the text with a certain lens. I know that you're familiar with that, so I won't go into that. But this is really a highly disrespectful approach to the story. And what is more, it's very harmful. Why? Because the approach imposes an agenda on the story, an agenda the book is not trying to impart. I want to talk about manipulation of stories and the harm it does both to the reader and the writer, and the action that manipulates the readers to read the story from a different point of view than what the author intended. This is what I would call intellectually criminal. It's an intellectual crime. It undermines the story, it devalues the story, and then it causes so much damage. It derails the purpose of the story and it destroys its essence. So we're going through a time where scholarship needs to burst the confines of narrow definitions and parameters that are imposed on it. And I'm sure you'll agree that all these narrow definitions, that they are really about controlling the narrative. I have written about, or a little more than 30 books, and of those 30, there are 11 novels and novellas, and they were being interpreted through a lens that in reality was not at all relevant to my writing. And some examples are a feminist lens, a climate activist lens, and then there's some others, but I'll only focus on these two. Now, you who have been reading my books, you know that some of my novels have strong female protagonists, but it does not mean that the novel has a feminist agenda to fulfill. And if there's a female protagonist, it just means she has a more interesting story in that book. But then not all my protagonists are women. and I'm always resisting being labeled. I have written books with male protagonists, men who are adventurers, who explore the unknown, who bring to us a parallel world. And they go where women cannot. And then they bring back new stories and adventures. Biologically, they're able to do this because men are biologically able to be hunters and warriors and builders of villages, cutters of trees, protectors of women and children and elderly. It is just a fact of life. So we need to remember men and women have different strengths. I'm including this about a scholar who tried to teach me that my Christological book, Son of the Thundercloud, was only about climate change. And she based that on the fact that there was a scene of famine in the book. And she diverted from the spiritual focus of the book. But actually, Son of the Thundercloud circles around ideas of prophecy fulfillment, ideas of forgiveness, divine forgiveness, and divine unconditional love. So when you read a book with a lens, this is what happens with the wrong lens. I don't recommend reading books with any lens, except the lens of history. In my book that you mentioned, A Terrible Matriarchy, translated to Marathi, the protagonist is a five-year-old girl, and we see the world through her eyes. And there are some scholars who insist it's a feminist document exposing the patriarchal system, but that is so wrong, that is so off the mark. So I have to state it publicly, because the book examines the infrastructure of Angami Naga society, that's my society. It doesn't mean that it critiques the patriarchal system. Rather, the book shows abuse of the structure by some individuals like the grandmother, a female and not a male. And really, when you want to know how to read a story, the story and not the theory behind it, the story is what the reader should focus on. And with Terrible Matriarchy, it's a singular story of members of a family living their lives in the times they live in. And this is the 60s and 70s in Kohima. It is a historical, or it has a historical background. It has a history to tell. And the book is, you can call it a book about girls coming of age, and also a town, the town of Kohima, which is a real town. It's coming of age story. It moves from an education system that is very fundamental to acquiring colleges and higher institutions. So it's interesting in that sense for people who are born and grew up in Kohima. And the family is an unusual family. The grandmother is a very, very unusual person. So this is the thing, the unusualness that makes it interesting as a story. And that is what the writer is interested in. Any writer, any artist is interested in the unusual. And that's how you approach a story, not to gain arsenal from it, but to experience the unusualness of other people's lives. There's really no need to read it with a lens. So I want to remind the audience that writing a story is art, and the true artist cannot have an agenda. Why? Because agenda kills art. There are books that promote an ideology, or there are books that are written only to promote an ideology, but they are not art. They are constructed narrative. They are inauthentic and contrived. They're definitely not art. So how do you read a story? I repeat that question because I think it's an interesting question. Have respect for the story, and it's respect in capital letters. The story already has layers to it without the reader needing to add his presuppositions to it. Don't be preoccupied with finding or trying to find something more. Then here I want to read a letter from a friend, a mail from a friend who trusted me with his feelings. The person is a writer, and he has experienced this his works being read with the wrong lens. So this is very vulnerable writing, but I want to share it with his audience. He writes, "There are so many ways in which the dominant people," and when he says dominant people, he says it could be academicians, it could be anyone, just reduce us. So he says the dominant people reduce us just because we come from X communities. They feel they can mold us or our private experiences in their ways to suit their own beliefs and needs. In their lens, indigenous people have to look a certain way and behave with a certain way. The template for us is set. We probably cannot move or extend ourselves beyond that. They just need ready-made answers in a template they themselves have created. It has nothing to do with us. It is just there in their minds, and they want us to conform to it. I think that's very painful, but very real. So I have very strong terminology for it. I call it academic laziness or intellectual sloth. And on the other hand, I call it commodification of literature, because there's such a tendency in universities and among scholars to commodify writing, commodify literature, and it's really so bad for your experience of reading a story. And I fear for future generations when this is promoted, because it is already being promoted. And as I have written here, I do condemn it in the strongest terms. And this is an experience of indigenous writers, but it's also an experience of from the early 20th century. You have Ella Cara Deloria. I hope you can find her book and read it. It's called The Water Lily. She was a Dakota educationist, anthropologist, and novelist. And she said, it's like trying to fit a circle into a square when indigenous stories are expected to fit into Western theoretical formats. I think this is very much applicable to Indian literature and the Indian situation, because we import so much of Western theoretical formats and we try to fit our stories into these formats, but it doesn't work like that. So, and if we try to make it work like that, when a dominant group tries to impose something, then it becomes a political action. It becomes controlling the narrative, and be very careful of that. I would underline that. So, what do I mean when I say how to read a story? Read and listen respectfully, and don't be influenced by any readings you've done, any theoretical readings you have done. Don't approach the reading with expectations. Again, I'm repeating myself, but a strong female character in my stories does not stand for any kind of activism. It does not mean she's a feminist. Why? Because Naga women have always been powerful. We've had women warriors who protected their villages against enemies. And this happened many, many years before the feminist movement was conceived. So don't bring in Western ideologies to understand an indigenous situation. And how should you read a story then? Don't bring expectations. Let your only expectation be to find beauty. The beauty of a story, of love, of friendship, even the beauty of suffering. We shouldn't avoid stories of suffering, because suffering has a refining and chastising element, and it gives wisdom. At the same time, if you cannot read without a lens, my recommendation is you use the lens of history. Read the history of the people in their stories, learn about their origins, their migration narratives, their religious history, their cultural expressions, all that. And then you use that lens to understand and appreciate the story properly. We need to revamp reading. We need to cleanse our minds before opening a book. And we need to refuse to admit any influences. Lose yourself in the story, make friends with the characters, become invested in their lives, read with an open mind, and let the story take you to places you would never go in real life. Reap and receive the new wisdom, because there's wisdom in stories. Receive the new wisdom the story offers you and allow the story to show you how to think out of your mindset. Finally, allow the story to teach you to be more loving, more serving, more accepting of others different from you, and by this process become more human, because the best kind of stories, they have this capacity and these qualities inside them to make you more human. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Easterine. That is such a humbling thought and a humbling statement you made. You started off, don't disrespect the story. That is the most powerful statement I've ever come across in recent times. Don't disrespect the story is going to stay with me for such a long time. Perfectly well enunciated, Easterine. Thank you so much. Friends, if you would like to interact with Easterine.
Yes, ma'am. May I?
Yes, please. You can, if you can switch on your camera, we would love to see you. And if you can just tell us your name and if you have any institutional affiliation, otherwise just your name would be fine. And the city you are talking from.
Ma'am, my name is Swati Mittal, and I am a research scholar and research assistant at Manarashna International Institute of Research and Studies, which is in Haryana, Faridabad, Delhi NCR. So, thank you so much, ma'am, for this enlightening session and enriching session on how to read a story. As someone doing my PhD on your works, hearing your thoughts directly from you feels like a dream come true. Your stories have not just shaped my research, but also my understanding of life, memory, and culture. Today, you haven't just taught us how to read a story, you have shown us how to listen to it, live it, and carry with it. I feel deeply honored to be here. I feel very happy. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to hear ma'am in live session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a nice, it's a fangirl moment for you, I'm sure, Swati. But did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I don't have a question as such, but I wanted to thank you for giving us this opportunity to hear ma'am through this live session. And I also wanted to thank ma'am for being here and enlightening all of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Swati. There is a question in the chat, Easterine. May I read it out? Shupant, would you like to ask it yourself? There's one, Shupant is asking, isn't using multiple lenses to bring out undiscovered meanings also a form of respecting the story?
I want to make it clear that I'm speaking from my experience, and my experience has been, as I said, students and their teachers coming with a lens which is totally irrelevant for my stories and interpreting my story in a totally different way, in a totally wrong way. So I was speaking from my experience. And there's another
There's
question.
another one from Heli Parekh. Which of your books do you personally enjoy revisiting and why?
I can easily answer that. It's Son of the Thundercloud, Son of the Thundercloud, and it's translated to Kannada, I think. I'm sorry, not Marathi, but to Kannada. And I really enjoyed writing it. And when I revisit it, I remember how much I enjoyed writing that book. Oh, it did win a prize. That was the Bal Sahitya Puraskar. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the prize. Yeah.
It's the Sahitya Academy Bal Puraskar.
Tips for aspiring writers. Be hardworking, because you can't get any place without hard work. Writing is very, very hard work. At the same time, be teachable. I've met so many aspiring writers who are not teachable, who don't want to accept advice, or you don't want to learn from others. So you need to be teachable, and you need to take advantage of editing, because none of us write perfectly, and a good editor can really polish your writing. There's another question. How are we running out of time? How do supernatural
Supernatural
enrich your
enrich
stories
your
from
stories from
indigenous
indigenous.
perspective? Okay, it's Binoy Dangar. See, Binoy, the thing with the supernatural in my stories, or the spiritual in my stories, is because is that the Naga experience always accepts the presence and the existence of a spiritual world. So I write from my reality as a Naga. I write from my reality as an indigenous person. When I combine both, when you find both elements in my books, it's not something separate and bringing in something boot into the story. It's not like that. It's an organic part of our indigenous experience.
May ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah. Who is this?
This is Dr. Akhtar Bano. My video is not on, I think. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes, please continue
Yeah,
asking
this
questions.
is Dr. Akhtar Bano, Associate Professor of English and Dean Administration, Cluster University, Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh. It's really, refreshing and enriching session, especially at a time when really reading has declined, reading habit has declined among the students. And the way Madam gave the inputs really added. And one thing that came to my mind is about the death of the author by Ronald Barthes. As how do you relate it, ma'am? While
Can you
She's
explain
asking,
that? I
yeah,
didn't hear it very well.
she's
Yeah.
asking ki, how do you relate death of the author to your own writing? The
Yeah.
essay by Roland Barthes.
No.
Is that what you're
I still
asking?
didn't
Yeah.
get it. I'm sorry.
So Ronald Barthes.
I still didn't get the question.
Ma'am,
Must be my audio.
could you please write it in the chat
Yeah,
box?
Yeah.
that'll
Can
be
we
I'll
better.
write. I'll write it.
Ma'am, can I talk, ma'am?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, you
Yes,
able.
I'm Baby Nazmin Khatun. I am a PhD research scholar at West Bengal State University, which is in West Bengal. But I did my MPhil on the Festival, ma'am. Good evening. Hello, am I audible, ma'am?
No, ma'am, baby, right? I think your voice is echoing, and it's my suggestion
Yes,
to all participants. Please write your questions in the chat box, because it's easier to understand what exactly you want to ask. Please write in the chat box.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
We
That
have
was
one
an interesting question.
Yeah, we have one question from Shireen Badar. From there, we can carry on.
Says one can allow that motives should not be attributed to a writer, but we must also acknowledge that every time a book is read, it's rewritten by the reader based on his own life story and history. That's not true. It's not rewritten. It's not all based on his own life story and history. Can we take away this right from it? That last question was confusing, but the writer sometimes takes from his own life or her life, but we are not taking away rights from the reader when we say don't give this lens or that lens, or don't read from that lens or that this lens. We are actually helping the reader to read properly, to read respectfully.
Welcome to my screen.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Apart from spiritual elements, what are the most important concerns in Son of the Thundercloud? See, the things I talked about earlier about prophecy, the prophecy fulfillment in Son of the Thundercloud, then about forgiveness, about unconditional love. These are actually the overriding concerns, and these are all spiritual items or elements, as you say. So this is the thing to take away from the book, the idea of forgiveness, that forgiveness is possible, and a very high form of forgiveness, the idea of love, which is not just between husband and wife, but unconditional love between a savior, between God and man. These are the things that the book conveys. I think, the questions are getting a bit exhausting.
Okay. There's one last question, only a couple of last questions, I think. There's one which I'll read. Is something lost when your work, rooted so much in Naga culture, is translated into another language? Having translators reached out to you, perhaps to collaborate and make the translation faithful.
The only other language that I've been able to read my book, my translated book, was Norwegian, and they did a very good job of it. And the translator understood the culture very well. She was always in touch with me, but I can't speak for the other languages. Like, I don't know how it is with the Marathi translations, but I have faith in the translator because she worked a lot with Naga PhD students, and my books are also translated to Assamese, to Telugu, to Kannada, to Tamil. But since I don't know these languages, I don't know how faithful they are. So I'll never know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one very lovely question which I found you may would like to answer. You said, Dr. Suresh, so that was Prantik Banerjee, by the way, who asked that question. And this is Sudesh Bhote. You said stories can heal. How do you understand the healing role of literature, especially for communities with histories of trauma?
Everyone carries a story inside them, and whether it's a story of suffering or not, people want to tell their stories because we are storytelling creatures. And once you've been able to tell your story, there's a lot of satisfaction in that. You feel you have fulfilled your purpose in life, and definitely it brings healing to maladies that you don't even know that you have. And this is more relevant, even more relevant when people have gone through great suffering. then definitely the telling of their stories brings healing. And to deny them the telling, that's terrible. That's so criminal. It's like denying them life. So it applies to both communities with histories of trauma and those who do not those who have not gone through trauma. But I think living life, you do experience trauma to different degrees, in varying degrees. Yeah.
There was one lady who wasn't able to be heard, so she has typed in her question. May I read that?
Okay, can that be the last question?
All right, that'll be there are 3-4 more, but this, she had said, Roland Barthes describes writing as a neutral space in the essay, Death of the Author. She wants to know your take on it.
I can't speak for Ronald. Is it Ronald or is it
Roland
Roland?
Barthes, yeah. Yes.
I can't speak for him. I'm sorry. I can only speak for myself. And
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for another person because I would be controlling their narrative.
True. So would that be the last question, or would you just one more?
Just one more, and then I have to go.
Okay, so this is one after that. Ma'am, you spoke so beautifully about how to read a story in your own writing, especially in works like A Naga Village Remembered and Son of the Thundercloud. You blend oral tradition with written narrative. How do you envision readers today, especially those far removed from Naga culture, approaching your stories so that they not only read them, but truly hear the voices within them?
I would invite them to Nagaland because it's something to read a story geographically away from the setting, but it's another thing to read the story in the setting. And I want to tell you about a lovely Goan friend. His name is Vivek. He carried a copy of A Naga Village Remember, and he went all the way to Kunoma. He stayed there many days and he read the book. And I think if you're able to do that, then that's the best way to read the book, the best way to hear the voices.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are definitely looking forward to visit Nagaland, and it now feels even more special knowing it when it comes from you. So thank you so much, ma'am, for answering my question also.
That's
Yeah,
Swati,
thank you,
right?
Swati.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So as
Thank
I
you,
said,
Swati.
yeah, it is a most beautiful state. As I began this, as we began our session today, I started by saying that I was so excited to come across the list of Sahitya Akademi winners again and remember that you had won the prize in 2024. And having just visited Nagaland in April and then read A Terrible Matriarchy about Honoma, it was truly magical. And truly to go take another book back to Nagaland and then to read it there is to revisit everything through your eyes, I feel. So I guess we now can bring this session to a close. I think Easterling is getting a little tired with the questions, but there are 2-3 more, and but they are going to tire you out. I'm so sorry, Majli and Heli and Shupant had asked another question. So I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to end the session here as per Eastereen's request. And truly grateful, Eastereen. It's been so lovely. And your short but very sweet and very insightful session is going to stay with us for long. But we have to now end on a formal note. So let me please hand over the session to my colleague, Pooja Bangar, who will propose the formal vote of thanks. And then we can call it a day. And before that, a very big personal thank you, Easterine, from my side, for so graciously accepting our invitation and then being so prompt with your email. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes.
As we come to the end of the 4th Dr. Kamala Narayanan Memorial Lecture, on behalf of the Department of English, LAD College for Women, Nagpur, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event a success. Our deepest thanks go to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Easterine Kire ma'am. Your insightful and evocative lecture on how to read a story has truly enriched our understanding and resonated deeply with us. We are privileged to have heard from such a powerful voice. Thank you for accepting our invitation, ma'am. We are also incredibly grateful to our respected principal, Dr. Pooja Pathak, for her unwavering support. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Shrija Kurup for the technical support. Thank you, ma'am, for your invaluable guidance and expertise.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you.
Finally, a sincere thank you to our attendees for joining us virtually today. Your presence and enthusiastic participation made this memorial lecture truly special. A feedback link will be shared via the WhatsApp group. Please fill out the form. We will provide the certificates to all the registered participants. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, everybody. Please stay connected on the WhatsApp group. And Shrija, don't end the meeting too soon. I would love to read all the questions and their responses again.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Meeting is still on.
There's so many there, and everybody's thanking you, Easterine. As you can see there in the chats, it's been a wonderful session. Heartiest thanks, Easterine ma'am and LAD College. Thanks for pouring in on the chats, and they really make us feel very encouraged to undertake yet another lecture. And let us all start reading Easterine as soon as possible. And that's the biggest takeaway from our session today. And we shall use her words of wisdom to read the stories that she has written. Thank you again once and for everyone. Thank you once again, and good day to everyone.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you all. I'll say bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Easterine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be ending the meeting now. Shrija, I think Smita has said, ma'am, I believe you dispensed Roland Barthes and Derrida in your own way. Yeah. And to all the participants who are still with me, a big thank you from LAD College. We shall meet each other soon, but we definitely invite you right away to the next and the 5th memorial lecture next year in 2026. Thank you and good day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, so much.